You know that feeling, right? It's Friday night, and for some people, the absolute perfect evening isn't some huge, loud party. It's just a quiet conversation with one other person. Today, we're going to dive into the really fascinating psychology behind why so many of us crave those deep, one-on-one connections, and why we might even choose them over a big group hangout any day of the week.
It really all begins with what you could call the social dilemma. Just picture this. You get two different invitations for the exact same night, but the way you feel about each one is, well, it's night and day. Let's break down what that actually looks like.
So, on one side, you've got the party invitation. And for a lot of us, that immediately brings up images of shouting over blaring music, trying to navigate a crowded room, and just a whole string of surface-level chats that can honestly feel so draining. But then, you get the coffee invite, and the whole vibe just shifts, doesn't it? It promises a quiet space, some real talk, and a genuine connection that actually recharges your social battery instead of wiping it out.
Okay, be honest with me. Have you ever felt that secret little wave of relief, or maybe it's not so secret, when that big social event you were kind of dreading gets canceled? If you're nodding right now, trust me, you are not alone. And there's a really good reason for feeling that way.
And this brings us to a super important point. Preferring smaller hangouts doesn't make you antisocial. It's actually the complete opposite. It's about being pro-connection. It means you're actively looking for a different, and let's face it, often much deeper kind of social interaction.
I mean, this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? I'm not shy or antisocial. I'm just incredibly allergic to small talk. Wow. It just perfectly sums up that desire to skip all the fluff and get right to the good stuff, the meaningful part of a conversation.
But this preference gets misunderstood all the time. People just jump to these conclusions, right? They think you're shy or rude or stuck up or even boring. But these are just myths. Turning down a party invitation isn't about judging the people who are going to be there. It's all about making a choice about the kind of environment you really thrive in. So when you boil it all down, it's not about the number of people in the room at all. It's always, always about the quality of the connection you can actually build. This isn't random. It's a very deliberate choice for depth over breadth. So why? Why does a crowd feel so fundamentally different? Let's get into the science of it for a second and take a look at what is actually going on inside your brain when you're dropped into a big group setting. The key concept we need to talk about is something called cognitive load. The easiest way to think about it is like your brain's available RAM or processing power. At a party, you're not just having a single conversation. Your brain is trying to track dozens of things at once. And that cognitive load? It just skyrockets. And here's the typical road to that social burnout. First, your attention gets split. You're trying to listen to one person while subconsciously tracking other conversations around you. Then, bam, sensory overload hits. The music, the lights, all the movement. You're constantly context switching, hopping from one shallow topic to the next. The end result? It's inevitable. Total mental burnout. Here's a perfect way to picture it. In that moment, your brain is basically like a computer with a single core processor trying to run 10 super heavy graphics-intense applications all at the same time. It can't keep up. It's going to lag, it's going to overheat, and eventually it's just going to want to shut down. Okay, so we get it. Crowds can be exhausting. Now let's flip the script. Let's look at the upside, the really amazing and restorative power you can only find in a one-on-one connection. This chart just visualizes that trade-off perfectly. A group party? That's high breadth. You might interact with a ton of people, but it's almost always on a very shallow level. A one-on-one coffee date? That's the opposite. Low breadth, sure, but the potential for incredibly high depth. And that depth, well, that's where the magic happens. You get genuine active listening, where you're both completely tuned in. There's room to be vulnerable, to be real. The conversation just flows back and forth, you know? It's not a performance. And because of all that focused attention, you build way stronger memories of the interaction and, most importantly, you build lasting trust. These are the real ingredients of a strong friendship. And really, it all comes down to this simple idea, the power of one. Just one deep, authentic, meaningful conversation can give you more fulfillment and a better sense of connection than an entire night of 100 shallow little chats. All right, so what do we do with all this information? The final and, I think, the most important step is to stop fighting against how you're wired and just start embracing your own personal social style. Let's be crystal clear about this. One social style is not better than the other.
It's not a competition. Whether you're an extrovert who comes alive in a crowd or someone who prefers a quiet corner with a close friend, neither is wrong. They are just two totally valid ways of being that serve different but equally important human needs. And the great news is you can actively build a social life that works for you. So start by saying no to those big group invites without a single ounce of guilt. And when you do, try proposing an alternative. Hey, I can't make the party, but I'd really love to grab coffee just us next week. Let your friends know what you prefer. The whole goal here is to curate a social life that gives you energy, not one that feels like a long to-do list of obligations.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. When you really get quiet and honest with yourself, what kind of connection doesn't just pass the time, but truly, deeply fuels you? Answering that? Well, that's the real key to a happier social life.